Andrew, where you been?
So we've just been, I don't know, we've been working on a couple other projects. We've got a couple really great listings right now. We want to kind of talk about the lifestyle stuff. We have a bunch of waterfront properties that include boating, include beaches, but we want to kind of talk about the Florida lifestyle today.
Yeah, so what is there to do besides being on the water, of course, more about like what is around each of these properties. Sure. We're going to highlight our 3 waterfront properties in today's video and the lifestyle around them.
So we want to talk about our 3 different waterfront properties that we have today. We're going to start in Grove City, which is really just a small area inside of Englewood. So to put that on the map, you're a little bit south of Venice, a good bit north of Port Charlotte. Waterfront, the property that we have is 1905 Mississippi. Really interesting history on the property, which I've talked about in other videos. But this property for boating is incredible, has incredible views. You have waterfront views from almost every single room. The one bedroom that's in the front of the house has peekaboo water views, but every other room inside the house has full open bay views of looking across at Big Stump Pass. You can see all the way down to Boca Grande. If you're into boating, this is an incredible house. You have 2 different spaces to put a boat. You could put a 50 to 60 foot boat right here where this lift is. Now that lift needs to be redone, no question about it, but this is deep water. You could put a 50 to 60 foot boat there, and then along the seawall over here, you could put an 80 to 90 foot boat along the seawall because it's deep water. I did have somebody come out and look at it, for a dock expert that said, you could put pilings in on the other side and put a really large boat there if you wanted to. But the real thing that's really incredible about this property is it's 3 stories with an elevator. The 3rd floor has a wraparound balcony with huge open views of the bay looking across at Big Stump Pass. And I mean, just all you're looking at is water here. So if you're looking for boating, if you're looking for sunsets, boating, a really large home. I mean, this has just under 5,000 square feet, but you probably have an additional 2,500 square feet of entertaining space that's underneath the house where the pool is tucked. Really large house, really large property. If you want to entertain, if you have a larger family or if you have visitors down all the time, this would be a great property. That's if you want boating. If you want beach, you have your house in Manasota.
Well, before we get there, actually, if you leave out here, Stump Pass, right, and you make your way all the way around, before you get to the house, I also have the Gulffront lot. Yep. 7160 Manasota Key, which that's Manasota Key over there, right across Lemon Bay here. And you can build a house on just under a half acre, or you can keep going and go past the very coveted gates of North Manasota Key, where there are, there's 3 houses for sale. There's one actually in the 4 million range. It's 4.2, but it does not have a pool. Okay. So if I'm spending 4 million, I'm probably gonna wanna have a pool, which my listing does, and that is showcased at 756 North Manasota Key.
Now let's talk about 756 North Manasota.
Yes, let's do it.
So, I mean, a lot is a lot. You can build on it. I'm not writing that off. I'd just rather talk more about the property that's on.
It's on the way and it's available as well.
So North Manasota, though, has both boating and beach. So I always call that like it's the dual cool. Like you have the beach on one side, you have a dock in the back. So if you're into boating, you have that. If you're like, no, I prefer to be on the beach side, you're really getting the best of both worlds. Now, when you talk about places, and I'm talking about from Bradenton all the way south to Port Charlotte, there are very few places that you can have that. The places that pop up off the top of my mind are on the very south side of Siesta Key. On Casey Key, you have some of that. Not all the properties, but some of that. And when I say the south side of Siesta Key, I'm talking about down south of Turtle Beach.
Where you can't go anymore.
Where you can't go further. There's about 15 homes down there, and a couple of them go all the way through to where you have boating in the back and the beach on the front. You have a couple properties out on Casey Key that are that way. Outside of that,
it's just the north end of Manasota.
It really is the north end of Manasota.
And I haven't counted how many are back there because there's some on the very south end that are actually on the bay that are not, that are just a walk across to, there's like a little inlet beach access there. But I'm talking about the ones that are directly on the beach that have
And
the
on the bay.
boat.
Right.
So these properties own the road, the portion of the road where their property sits, Gulf to Bay. They own out into mean high water on either side, and
Right.
they own the docks and, of course, the land. So
Right.
a lot of the properties are like an acre and a half or more. My listing is just over 4,000 square feet, truly beachfront, Gulf to Bay, private. And the way that, it's like, unless you've been in one of these houses, you wouldn't know. But the way that they put the fence even is so strategically private, because when you're inside the house or out by the pool, it's still extremely private, and nobody can just park a chair on the beach. They can't just sit
there.
there.
So you own to the mean high water mark, which I believe in Sarasota County you do not. So like in Sarasota County, if you go out to somebody's house out on that south end of Turtle Beach, if you want to, you can go out there and plop a beach chair down, and there's not much they can do about that.
I believe so. I know some of the owners don't like that.
Sure.
But I don't think that's, I'm not 100% sure. I could be wrong, but I know on Manasota they do.
They own to the
They
high
do
water.
own out into the water.
And that means that you truly can put up private property signs out on the beach. You're not going to have people sitting out on your beach back there. It's just more private.
But it's also, again, we're talking about the lifestyle. From
Right.
here and from the North Manasota Key House, you can get on your boat
Right.
and go to restaurants, dock your boat.
Yep.
You just have a whole day on the water,
Yep.
a whole night on the water. It's from sunrise to sunset on the water, and you could just hop along to these restaurants, these
Yep.
bars, and have like this amazing day out.
Well, and you have, so let's talk about the boating. If you have a larger boat and you're like, gosh, I really want to go further. I mean,
This is it.
Both of these locations, though, from here you just hop out to Big Stump Pass. You can be down to Naples if you're running wide open in a couple hours. I mean, if you want to go all the way up to Tampa Bay or just up to Sarasota, it's an hour and 30 minutes, I would think. Once you're out into the Gulf, but you
It's
can
all right here. It's all
or
right
if
here.
you're like, no, I don't want to do that. I just want to hang out here in the bay where it's calm, and I want to hit a couple restaurants. You can go all the way to Sarasota via inlet. So you don't have to go into the open water. You can just hop up to Venice and hop up to Sarasota via the inlet and not have to go out into the open water where you really do need a bigger boat to do that.
So for the Manasota house that we're talking about, 756, it is more conducive to a smaller boat. You do have to
Right.
go, because it's on the north side of Manasota. You do have to veer going south because
Right.
there's no north access. So you do have to go through Lemon Bay and all the way down. You're going to pass the restaurants anyway.
Right.
And then you're going to come out here, Stump Pass as well, and out into that open water. But for the deep water access, this is the house.
Right.
Of all the three that we're going to talk about,
Yep.
if you have a larger boat, this is it, because some of the water is shallow.
Well, and
low
here,
tide.
you truly could put two large boats, but the bigger thing is this. You talk about the beach and bay access. There's very few properties from Bradenton all the way down to Port Charlotte where you can put larger boats behind your house. So
There's so few. When you actually start to look,
if you look at
there's not
Longboat
very
Key,
many.
most of the channels in Longboat Key, especially on the north side of Longboat Key, get really, really shallow. You can't put a larger boat there. You come down to Sarasota, again, on that back side of Siesta Key, on the south side, there are places where you can put some larger boats. And then as you go further and further south, eventually when you get down to Port Charlotte, there's places where you can put larger boats behind your house. But it's very, very few places.
I think Country Club Shores South Longboat is one of, and then you'd have to kind of be closer to the end
Right.
toward the bay. And even then, I mean, you can't fit a 50-foot boat there.
No, and the draft, it's not necessarily the size of the boat; it's the draft, it's how deep it's drafting.
Right.
And something that was interesting is that when I had the guy come out and look at the dock here, or at the lift here, he was like, "Yeah, we can dredge this for $1,000, and it'll be deep water, and then a deep water channel runs right along the seawall here, so you could have two large boats in this space if you so desired to have it." Whereas if you're up in Manasota, and you want a boat, you're probably looking at a smaller speedboat, a smaller fishing boat, or a pontoon boat.
But you have the best of both there.
Yeah,
and
sure.
It's like, it's so incredibly peaceful and rare, and just, it's quiet because you cannot get behind those gates. I'm telling you, you have to have your ID, and it has to be scanned. There's no guard. You have to have one of the owners buzz you in.
Right.
And so they're very different, right? Like, this is different than the Gulffront lot, of course, because anybody can come egress from the home or whatever, unless you make it super private. But if you want the gated with low fees, that's another option. And then last but not least, the Bradenton house, if you want a large lot and a impeccably redone
so we have
property.
My large property at 6178 9th Avenue, Circle Northeast. I mean, you're talking just under 5,000 square feet, but like when you say impeccably redone, they imported materials from all over the world. They flew master craftsmen in to do all this customization. I mean, the property just has kind of everything. I mean, you have a beautiful pool that's just been refinished, huge entertainment spaces both inside the house and out on the patio. In fact, I'll be at a barbecue in the next weekend or the weekend after up there, and you know they can have 50, 60, 70 people at the house, and it's very, very comfortable.
Easily, yeah.
And big, huge open views. You have a really long dock there. You do have boating access there. The water depth at low tide is about 3.5 feet, so you can fit about a 36 or 40 foot boat back there. If you go that large, you're gonna have to pay attention to the tides.
Yeah,
the next door neighbor, I think, has a 36 foot boat, but he definitely said, like, look, I've got to pay attention to when I'm going out and when I'm planning to come back in to make sure, because if it gets too low, you're just not going to be able to get in. But he's redone the dock, the very end.
It's beautiful too.
He has, he has a fishing boat, so it's not as big of a deal. Large lot, extremely private. You have no neighbors for 3 to 4, maybe even 5 miles to the east. And then the houses to the west are tucked more up towards the street. So where the house sits kind of further back.
Super private.
It's very, very private.
It's right next to the house, the neighbor that's got the guitar-shaped pool.
It's
right next door to that. And it's also gated.
It's
so
gated,
that's nice.
and it's gated, and the 3 or 4 estate properties that are back there are tucked even further back. I mean, the driveway, I think he put almost, there's a dolphin. They put almost $200,000 in pavers. You're tearing out the entire driveway because it's a really long driveway. About another 150 grand in landscaping. I mean, he really did a great job. And so that property is something. It's very modern. So if you're looking for your traditional,
one of a kind.
But if you're looking for your traditional Mediterranean Florida style house, this isn't for you. If you're looking for something modern, though, I kind of tell people when they come to see the house, if you're looking for modern, you're going to be looking down at the Guy Peterson homes that are down in Harbor Acres or down in Sanderling Club.
Lido.
You have a couple of properties that are in South Longboat Key that are a little bit closer to St. Armands that are more modern. Or you could buy this, and the price point of this property when you compare it to those locations is less than half. So if you're talking 5.6 million, I know that sounds like a lot of money, but when you're comparing the other modern homes that are down in Sanderling, I think one of them's on the market right now for 16.5. So it's a third of the price.
I mean, they're selling beachfront lots for $6 million in that range on Longboat Key for an acre.
Right.
So I think it just really depends on your lifestyle, like what you gravitate toward, like what kind of water matters is, we have other properties on the water that are not big open water. We have creek front.
Right.
I've got one listed on a creek. Of course, the small lakes, different. That's not really the waterfront we're talking about. We're talking about the big open water where you can actually boat.
Right.
And have a motorboat, not just a paddleboard.
Well, and I mean, look, I sold a condo all the way down in Punta Gorda about 2 months ago. And yes, as you get further and further from Sarasota, the prices come down lower and lower. If you're willing to go all the way down there, for $350,000, you can find a small 2 or 3 bedroom condo where your boat lift is right behind you, but it's still going to be a canal view. It's not going to be open water view. It's still going to be a canal view, and you still can't put like a large boat. You probably can go up to maybe 29 or 30 feet tops.
Well, the thing is, we've got these 3 great properties all very unique. Well,
Sure.
4 if we're including the Gulf front lot. So we're starting here at 1905 Mississippi. This one's offered at 2.799.
Yep.
Moving on up to the Gulf front lot, the address is 7160 Manasota Key Road. That's actually considered Sarasota County. That is offered at 1.29.
Yep.
And then the house on the north side of Manasota Key, 4.69 million. And then last but not least,
6178 9th Avenue Circle Northeast in Bradenton. It's east of 75, but it's kind of strange when you come off 75, you go west and then go back down underneath the highway. And then it's tucked back there. And I have that one listed at 5.65 million. And so I just think that like right now we're really, we want to sell the lifestyle and tell you about, if you're looking for this is kind of what fits.
And like what's around, it's not like this house could be anywhere, but if
Sure.
you like Englewood, if you like Grove City, if you really like this house on, let's say if I put this house on Longboat Key, it would be
way more, but even just across the water here. I mean, Boca Grande is right here. If you take this house and drop it on Boca Grande, it's a $12 or $13 million home. So you're paying a fraction of the price. I get it's not on Boca Grande. You're not, but you are getting essentially if you're just talking about the water, you're essentially getting the same location on the water for a fraction of the price.
And everybody's different. There's a time and a place to be on the island.
Sure.
There's a time and a place to be on the mainland
Yep.
or more inland, and we have all 3 options here for you.
Right.
And or if you wanted to build too and start from scratch, we have that available.
Yep.
So we'd love to hear from you.
Yep.
And if you're interested in learning more about the market, by the way, we did a whole video on each of these properties that we're talking
Yep.
about. So we have a whole tour of this property. I have a whole tour of the vacant lot even, and of course 756 North Manasota, and he and I together, I know you've got other videos, but we did
Right.
all specific tours of each property.
Right.
If you want a copy of the link, or you need to call us, you want to schedule a tour,
I think the big thing
call
is
us.
if you're looking for Shayla, she's more on YouTube. If you're looking for me, I'm more on TikTok. But if you look for both of us, you can find all of these properties. There's multiple videos on all of these properties with videos and photos and descriptions of the property. The history of this property that we're at right now is really incredible. And we've done a lot of video on that. But yeah, reach out anytime. Feel free to call me on my cell, 941-586-2460.
But really, just call me.
Nah, just call me. Don't worry about her.
941-544-7690.